There are paintings that tell a story. And then there are paintings that refuse to tell you anything at all. This one has no explanation, no official meaning, no message hidden in a letter. The artist who painted it never revealed what the island represents. He never explained the silent figure dressed in white. He didn't even give it the name the world remembers today. Instead, he left behind a single image and allowed generations of strangers to search for answers on their own. Yet somehow, this mysterious island fascinated millions. It hung in homes across Europe. It inspired composers, writers, and artists. It captured the attention of Sigmund Freud, Vladimir Lenin, and even Adolf Hitler. Three men who believed in completely different worlds, but all found themselves staring at the same silent island. The painting is called Isle of the Dead, and more than a century later, it still feels less like a painting and more like a memory from a dream you've never had. Take a slow look. A small wooden boat drifts across perfectly still water. There are no waves, no birds, no wind, no sound. Ahead stands a lonely island surrounded by towering white cliffs. Rising from the center are dark cypress trees, the same trees that have long been planted in cemeteries throughout Europe. Everything feels frozen. Inside the boat are only two figures. One silently rows. The other stands completely still, wrapped in white cloth with their back turned toward us. Between them rests a long white coffin. No one speaks. No one cries. Nothing dramatic happens. Yet somehow, it feels impossible to look away. Because the painting never shows death itself. It shows something far more unsettling. The journey toward it. To understand why this image feels so strangely personal, you first have to understand the man who created it. Arnold Böcklin was born in Switzerland in 1827, but spent much of his artistic life in Italy. Unlike many painters of his time, he wasn't interested in capturing reality exactly as it appeared. He preferred myths, dreams, ancient legends, and emotions that couldn't easily be explained. His paintings often looked like scenes from another world. Beautiful, but strangely unsettling. He believed art shouldn't simply show what the eyes can see. It should reveal what the mind quietly feels. That philosophy would eventually produce one of history's most haunting masterpieces. But the inspiration behind it wasn't mythology alone. It was grief. Death followed Böcklin throughout his life. He became the father of 14 children. Only 6 survived into adulthood. Again and again, he buried his own children. Each funeral left another scar that never truly healed. Friends noticed how his paintings slowly became quieter, darker, more reflective. Instead of painting monsters, he painted silence. Instead of showing fear, he painted loneliness. Those emotions eventually gathered together inside one mysterious island. And once you know his personal history, the painting begins to feel completely different. It no longer looks like fantasy. It starts feeling like memory. During the late 1870s, Böcklin was living in Florence, Italy. Not far from his home stood the English cemetery. One of his daughters was buried there. He passed that cemetery countless times. Rows of tall cypress trees, stone tombs, quiet paths, the overwhelming stillness of grief. Many historians believe these surroundings slowly shaped the island we see today. Perhaps the cliffs weren't copied from any real place. Perhaps the island existed only inside the artist's imagination. But the emotions behind it were painfully real. Then something unexpected happened. In 1880, a wealthy widow named Marie Berna visited Birkeland's studio. She had recently lost her husband. While looking around the studio, she noticed an unfinished painting of a mysterious island surrounded by dark water. Something about it immediately spoke to her. She asked the artist if he would paint a version for her, not as decoration, but as what she described as a picture to dream by. Those 4 words completely changed the painting forever. Before finishing her version, Birkeland added 2 unforgettable details: a white figure and a coffin. Suddenly, the island no longer felt abandoned. It became a destination. Think about that for a moment. Marie Berna wasn't asking for a frightening image of death. She was searching for comfort. She wanted a way to imagine her husband's final journey. Somewhere peaceful, somewhere beyond suffering. Birkeland understood exactly what she meant. Later he wrote that the painting was so silent that even the sound of someone knocking on the door would frighten you. That sentence tells us everything about the mood he wanted to create. Not horror, not violence, just silence so complete it almost becomes a sound of its own. Here's something most people never realize. The title, Isle of the Dead, wasn't Birkeland's idea. He never called it that. In his own notes, he simply referred to it as the Tomb Island. Years later, his art dealer gave it the dramatic title Isle of the Dead because it sounded more powerful and helped sell prints across Europe. Ironically, the name that made the painting famous never came from the artist himself. Most artists finish a masterpiece and move on. Birkeland couldn't. For nearly 20 years, he kept returning to the same lonely island again and again and again. Not once, not twice, but 6 separate times. Each version looked familiar, yet somehow different. Different lighting, different atmosphere, different emotions, almost as though he was searching for an answer that even he couldn't find. The first version was cold, empty, and strangely distant. The second became softer after Marie Berna's request. But it was the third version, the one most people recognize today, that would transform this mysterious island into one of the most famous paintings in Europe. The third version, completed in 1883, is the one that made the painting legendary. Unlike the earlier versions, this one feels almost unreal. The cliffs glow with soft pink and violet light. The water reflects the sky like polished glass. Everything looks peaceful, yet deeply unsettling. But hidden inside this version is a detail that many people walk past without ever noticing. Carved into one of the stone tombs are the artist's own initials. Arnold Birkeland quietly placed his own name inside the island, almost as if he had already reserved a place there. No explanation, no statement, just a small signature hidden among the graves. It makes you wonder, was he painting an imaginary island, or the place he believed he would one day reach himself? The fourth version was painted in 1884. But unlike the others, this one no longer exists. During the Second World War, it was destroyed in a bombing raid. Today, all that remains is a black and white photograph. An artwork about deaths, lost to one of history's deadliest wars. It almost feels tragically appropriate. The fifth version appeared 2 years later. This time the mood changed again. The sky became darker. The wind seemed stronger. The water felt colder. It no longer looked like a peaceful farewell. It felt as if nature itself had begun mourning. Years later, Birkeland started a sixth and final version. By then, age and illness had weakened him. He was unable to complete it himself. His son, Carlo Birkeland, finished the painting after his father's health failed. The artist, who had spent 20 years returning to the same island, finally reached the end of his own journey. But what happened next is even stranger. The painting escaped the world of art. Prints spread across Europe at an unbelievable speed. Some historians even claimed that copies could be found in countless German homes. This mysterious island became part of everyday life. People who had never visited a museum had seen it. People who knew nothing about art recognized it. Somehow, this silent image connected with an entire generation. Among those fascinated by the painting was Sigmund Freud. The father of psychoanalysis spent his life exploring dreams, memories, and the hidden parts of the human mind. He kept a reproduction of Isle of the Dead in his office. Perhaps because the painting feels exactly like the unconscious itself. It never gives clear answers. Only symbols. Only questions. Another admirer was Vladimir Lenin. The revolutionary who reshaped Russia reportedly kept a copy near his bed. A man devoted to politics and reason still found himself drawn toward this impossible island. Then there was Adolf Hitler. Unlike the others, he didn't want a reproduction. In 1933, he purchased one of the original versions. Think about how unusual that is. A psychoanalyst, a revolutionary, a dictator. 3 men who agreed on almost nothing. Yet all were captivated by the exact same painting. Whatever Birkeland created, it reached something deeper than politics, deeper than ideology, something purely human. The influence didn't stop there. Russian composer Sergei Rachmaninoff saw a black and white reproduction of the painting and became completely obsessed. He composed an orchestral masterpiece inspired by it. If you listen carefully, the slow rhythm of the music sounds like the steady pull of oars through silent water. It's as if the boat inside the painting finally began to move. Years later, another artist stood before Birkeland's island. Salvador Dali, the master of surrealism. Instead of copying the painting, Dali answered it. He created his own dreamlike interpretation. Proof that even decades later, artists were still trying to understand the mystery Birkeland left behind. And then something remarkable happened. After spending years painting death, Birkeland painted its complete opposite. He called it Isle of Life. The lonely cliffs disappeared. The darkness gave way to sunlight. Palm trees replaced cypress trees. People laughed. Children played. The island was alive. It's almost as if the artist spent 20 years imagining the journey into death, before finally asking himself, what if there is another shore? Today, Isle of Life and Isle of the Dead hang in the same museum in Basel, facing one another. Life, looking directly at death. Today, Isle of the Dead isn't as famous as it once was. It no longer hangs in millions of homes. Most people walk past it without knowing its story. But perhaps that makes it even more powerful. Because Birkeland never wanted to force an explanation upon us. He never told us who the figure in white was. He never revealed where the boat was going. He never explained whether the island represented heaven, memory, grief, or simply the unknown. He trusted the silence, and that silence has lasted for more than 100 years. Maybe that's why the painting refuses to grow old. Every person who stands before it brings their own memories, their own fears, their own losses. The island changes because the person looking at it changes. And perhaps that was Birkeland's masterpiece all along. Not painting death, but painting the feeling of standing at the edge of a mystery that every human being must one day face. So now I'd like to ask you the same question people have been asking for over a century. What do you think is waiting on that island? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden story behind this masterpiece, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. There are countless paintings hiding extraordinary stories, and we'll discover them one masterpiece at a time.